And, well, here we go. So, the first map is going to be yet again Arabia. That's quite obviously Arabia. Yeah, dry one, dry version. And now for the civilizations in this 4v4, we're going to see Shmuf as Mayan, Obelix Persian, Dunedain as Mongol, Asterix is Han, and against them for kLu we have Sancho as Chinese, Vince Mayan, Hats as Han, Hats Han, okay, and Hox is playing Mongols. So is it perfect mirror? No, just the Chinese versus Persians. Yeah, it's kind of standard standoff. Basically the difference based on preferences or maybe potentially some special strategy. So the first we have a look at is right now BF Schmoof in purple dress, who is the host of the room, who has just now discovered both his boar and the hunt on the left side, so it was quite lucky for him to go with the eagle at this side, and he's playing in the middle between his pockets and or between his sides with another pocket that is Asterix. Discovering a bit of a bond here, and I'm kind of curious if we're going to see yet another dock like last week between NC and Leo, where Andorin was having quite some success with actually placing a dock on a pond like this. Now, well, definitely check that game out on our YouTube. Another bar is at the top here, and well, stone is reasonably placed, even though it's not really ideal behind the tree line here, as it's going to be slightly worse defendable, as obviously he will have a harder time retreating with the Willies, but hopefully he will manage. And otherwise, yet another hunt is here, so he's having actually a double hunt, which is not bad at all. This might be lurable inside his TC, so he won't probably make a mill there, but this is I kind of think millable, as it's really kind of far away, and if he's interested in that, yeah, that's like a mill will be placed there. Oh, triple hunt. Well, okay, someone's lucky here, Schmoof. Triple hunt right there. Okay, so that's definitely a big bonus. And the second bar is very nicely placed, the same as the first one, so yep, it seems like pretty nice map overall. This stone is very nicely defensible for him, as opposed to the second one, as it's back to the side of the map, so kinda indeed nice. This gold is as defensible as it can be, but where's the second one? Oh yeah, that's not really ideal. That's behind the tree line, and you don't really want to see that all that often. So, switching into another player, you can see that blue is already getting the bar here. So let's switch into Asterix. Yep, that's the bar right here, and he's kind of unfortunate position. And well, this gold is safe and nice to actually gather from, but this is not really ideal at all. It's both blocked by the tree line and also by the side of the map, and that's not something what you want. It is kind of protecting the entrance into the base, but it's not really. With main gold, yeah, you probably don't want to have that. You would very much prefer to have it open so that as many willies as possible would gather from that. You can see that the bar is on the right side together with some extra hunt and yet another bar, so oh, this is actually the hunt from God damn it, Schmoof. Yes, this is how you pronounce it, Schmoof. From Schmoof together with the bar here. So yeah, this is the purple ones that we were having fun about. And where's actually the second bar for Asterix? Oh, aha, yeah, this is the one. He has already actually lured one in, so yeah, he's kinda safe, and the second one will be following close behind. This stone is not safe, but at the same time it's between him and his allied Obelix, so not really all that bad. It can be probably gathered from for quite some time, and same could be said about this stone. This is pretty much safe, and the gold, yeah, with one easy wall here, is just as safe as it can be. So this seems pretty decent for him. And let's switch into Obelix then. Obelix is the next one to have a look at, and he's already, wow, pretty nicely walling, and he's definitely meaning business with that, and I'm not really thinking that's a bad idea, because obviously he's going to be facing some kind of tough opponent, and on Arabia, that's very early aggression quite often, and let's see who is going to be against him. Let's cheat a little bit, and it's going to be green. It's going to be green, Hox as a Mongol. Well, so not exactly sure if he is going to be going into aggression as soon as he may be thought, but still, better protection than not be protected at all. He's also using this stone as kind of a wall for himself, and he's still having quite ways to go to actually protect himself with the palisade, so it's costing him quite a lot of resources, but I'm kinda thinking that it's going to be well worth it, because otherwise he would be very open, and yeah, some kind of drash would potentially mess him up. Otherwise, the map seems to be okay. The stone is reasonable. In here, gold is also pretty nice for him overall, and he's right now being discovered by Hox, and that's exactly the guy that he should be worried about, because that's his opponent that we have sneaked upon just a bit earlier. He's also moving with his villager on this side for a lumber camp, so he's kind of wanting to be in control of the gold mine as well, and potentially will be dropping some kind of palisade wall here as well, as if anything is an indication of that, this huge palisade wall definitely is. Nice hunt. I'm kind of thinking that he might be wanting to go for potentially mill, but he's probably going to prefer this one on the left once he finishes with this one. This is kind of curious that he didn't go for this for mill here, but went for the one with the forage bush. But maybe we'll see him actually luring some of those deer closer to the TC, or potentially the mill as well. He's right now having a pretty good scouting position, and he's just literally around Hox, and Hox is already advanced into Feudal Age together with Hats as well. So let's switch into him, and is he maybe rushing? He could be. He's dropping barracks at this point, so I wouldn't be really surprised if he were going for a mill here and switching very quickly right now into the other guys as Vince, who is playing pocket here, and he's also quite volley. I was about to say that he's falling quite a lot, but maybe this was just some kind of beginning, and he was maybe thinking that he will be slightly more closed off, but yeah, he really isn't at all. So it seems like he will be forced into something else. He's just right now luring some of the deer in, quite successfully it seems at this point, and going for stone right off. And as easy Mayan, he will be probably going for faster advance into castle, and castle just as well. Two relics pretty close to him, so yeah, that's a slight advantage for the close it seems. And the next one to have a look at is right now El Sancho. El Sancho, okay, here we are. He's having pretty nice goal together with stone, and I'm kind of thinking he will definitely want to protect this part of the map as much as he can, but it is going towards his ally, but still he needs some kind of wall about here, because really this is the backbone of his economy, and he definitely cannot allow some kind of raid in here. And right now Shmoof is knowing what's happening here, and yep, this is it. Drop in barracks, and I'm going to switch off the fog of war because I already need to know if somebody is rushing or whatever. So far we don't really see it at this point, and we already see that Grey Dunedain is already prepared quite nicely with the pikeman here, because he's expecting some kind of scout raiding. So is that going to be happening? His base overall seems pretty decent. He's also having scouts, and yeah, it seems like that he will be having basically 1v1 of the scout battle with huts. So that's going to be quite interesting indeed. We already see that seems like a Grey. Yeah, that was probably Grey. Yellow looks more yellow, obviously. So yeah, that's going to be it, and yet another Grey dead. So better be careful, Dunedain here, otherwise you're going to lose the battle before it even began. And you are not really engaging all that much. And even though, yeah, you have killed one, this is still all about micro, and this is a pretty important battle for what is going to happen here, as Yellow is still having a slight advantage, but right now Dunedain is doing a pretty correct thing, and that's hiding one of the willies inside the TC and dishing some extra damage into those pesky yellow guys. So this is probably going to continue. I'm not exactly sure why he isn't using the spearman. He's probably just aiming to have them at some tactical spots. Yeah, right now just putting light to what I said and moving them somewhere else. But what is happening somewhere else on the map? Not much, just see that Teal is completely surrounded by walls at this point. Yeah, he has already finished the wall on the left side as well, using the gold very nicely. And is he going to be harassed by Green? Well, Green is kinda occupied by building walls for himself, and he is going for wheelbarrow, whereas other players like Vince, Sancho, Asterix and Shmoof are going for castle ages, and it seems like these are all the pockets. Yeah, all four pockets are advancing to castle ages at this point, so nothing surprising really there, and this should result in some pretty great battles in the early castle with knights or in the Imperial Den. Yeah, this is slightly unfortunate, those 5 idols. It's not really going to help, and they did it really stand there for quite some time. And let's have a look at, for example, what is happening in Yellow's base. Not much. He's so far pretty static at this point. with those two units, so that's not really much happening. Whereas much more is happening up top, and he's probably aiming to go into castle pretty soon as he's dropping blacksmith. So let's have a look at his raiding attempts. Grey is trying to put a stop to that, quite successfully indeed, even though this cross-shaped gold, that's pretty funny, is going to be gathered from pretty soon, but it should be reasonably open. Yeah, that's kind of fortunate for him. And yet again, some extra idols here, but not for long it seems. Yeah, some early GGs, that's just for fun there, and yellow is probably just switching somewhere else, and he's just being lured by grey, and grey somehow lost track of what is happening here, and right now he's going to pay for it with quite a lot of damage, and yep, those guys are almost dead, and will be reduced to just 2 in just a matter of moments, and maybe even just the 1, and yep, this was definitely a pretty bad play, and yeah, you have to pay attention all the time, because if you don't, you're just going to lose a whole ton of resources in the units that you will need. So first advances into the castle are happening. We're going to be seeing how much of a boom are we going to see from the players. Orange so far is going for 1 extra, and he's playing what? He's playing the Chinese. So we will be probably expecting something extra, and he's also going for knights and some very early raiding. So that's definitely not something to underestimate here, and keep in mind. And well, yeah, castle is being dropped by red, and we have already deduced that at the very beginning from him going for the stone very early. Yeah, so he's very nicely protecting his gold at this point. That's very nicely played from him. And the castle will be dropped very defensively and at a pretty opportune spot, I kinda have to say. He's going to protect this gold, this wood line and stone, and also partly this gold, so I kinda think this is really very nice placement of a defensive castle. It would have been slightly better, I kinda think, bit instead of the market, but yeah, stuff happens. Stuff happens. In the middle, we see a bit of a fight in between the nature and the orange player, who is trying to somehow close up on his opponent, who is and he's already having quite a lot of luck. He's having his own scout cavalry there to get there with the knights, and it's going to be slightly problematic for Schmoof to defend against that with plumes. But if he is able to hold on for a bit longer, his plumes will be good enough against just the castle age knights, and yep, orange will be forced to advance into the next age. This wolf not really giving it rest. Let's see if he will pay for his insolence anytime soon. So far not, so far he's just building a bit of a wolf train. So let's see if that's going to be put to some proper use. Maybe if he picks this one up, you could probably deposit them somewhere around those palisade walls. Try to actually get through. Well, who knows, but that's not happening so far. And here we see a bit of an attempt at raiding from Obelix. Yeah, is it Obelix? Yeah, it is. It's kind of similar on the minimap, the green and the teal, but well, yeah, that was definitely Obelix, and he's also having some kind of lapdoggy. So it seems to be the theme of this map so far. The most interesting stuff happening with the nature, and well, castle advance from Hawks, and he will be upgrading into crossbowman pretty soon. And yet again, especially when he's joined by Red, as you can see, Red is joining him on the battlefield here. It's going to be pretty important because with crossbowman and the plume, he will be able to kill the knights just by himself with some proper micro. If he actually can find some high ground, which might be a bit of a problem, as yeah, he will need to run somewhere here with the tree line to actually take proper advantage of the better attack of the crossbowman. So Botkin, arrow, crossbowman and bowsaw are ready for Hawks exactly at the right time when he needed it, and Red will have to retreat. Yeah, he's probably just guarding this hill exactly for the reason that I was mentioning, to make sure that he has some higher ground and better damage, but well, he has to right now retreat from that and go help his ally, because this was developing into some kind of position that he did not want to have any part of. Those double knights could be a slight problem, especially when we look that Hawks together with Vince are just double archers. So yeah, we definitely will need something extra from the barracks here, from the Mongol, potentially some extra spearmen or whatnot, but that is not happening so far. And well, yellow is definitely not giving up on the Radiant here, as right now he will be finding some nice villages on the stone here from purple, but is he noticing? Oh well. Yeah, right now he is. And the eagle is not going to be enough, so goodbye villagers. They are probably going to die, and yeah, definitely they have nowhere to run. And purple is not even aware, because he is spent on his he spent on his attention with those plumed archers that are trying to raid something. Quite unsuccessfully indeed, because, yeah, there is yet another big Chinese wall. Asterix is so far pretty fine. He doesn't have any kind of problem so far, so 3 TCs, that's pretty nice boom for him, and he's at this point pretty much waiting for the right moment to advance on his opponents, and yeah, he did pretty good job actually retreating back into his base, because he will be attacked at this point and he will be able to defend. So yep, no disruption to his economy, and that was quite lucky from him, because even just a moment earlier we have seen those blue horses next to the Teal base as they were defending, or rather attacking the opponent, and yep, well, that's pretty much it so far. Red, though, is attempting to raid the same as is attempting purple. Purple wasn't successful so far, and red might be slightly better because he's not facing all that many walls, and there's a clear way through into blue, and that's not going to be all that nice for him, especially if he can find the way. Let's just quickly check here, though, because purple is at this point helping defend his teammate, who is under some kind of attack from orange, together with... Oh no, that's just orange. Okay. Or am I confused at this point? Unify from BF, yeah, so that's grey, and yellow together with orange, yeah, this is the one army, yeah, sorry about the confusion here. So these two guys are together, orange together with yellow, whereas purple is the only one defending grey at this point, and grey is attempting to somehow boom. He's having 1, 2, 3 pieces so far, I see. 3 TCs, and he's been raided at 2 spots. He was trying to build a 4th one actually, and well, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And he actually has a way through, or is there... He should be having a way through here. I see a hole in the wall, and I don't see any kind of tree or anything in there, so he should be through. And it's going to be slightly problematic for Schmoof to defend him, because right now he's defending against 2 players and being just one, and obviously that's not going to be all that nice indeed. Teal so far though is finding way into his opponent's base as well for some proper raiding, because red is raiding in the opponent's base as well. Or raiding. He's at least attempting to, and he's taking a pretty sweet spot, because this means that those knights cannot attack it, because they would be just wrecked, as they would be able to attack just one at a time, and that's not really enough against the combined power of those plumed archers. So very nice play and very nice usage of the map to his advantage by wins. Is it really going to be enough? Because the number of those knights is really at this point kinda getting bigger, and chain barding armor is going to help him all that more. So it's going to be an encounter pretty soon, I kinda think. Maybe he should... Yeah, right now he's doing exactly the right thing, switching the armies into 2 flanks, and yeah, he got those plumed pretty nicely, and plumed archers are trying to get to the higher ground, but it's not going to be enough, and they really need to retreat, as already 3 have died. The attack from yellow on grey is still going on pretty strongly, and he's through the walls very safely, so potentially he can go through and just wreck the economy of grey. Grey is at this point at 47 villies, which is, wow, that's definitely the lowest. So yellow is doing a damn good job together with orange, and well, yep, BFs are, even though they are at the top of this list, they are definitely not up in the economy department. Another attack has been happening on the left, and you can see that Hawks is so far having a pretty decent army, and he's probably going to aim to help his teammate in some kind of raiding on potentially Teal. Well, Teal is though pretty nicely defended, dropping at this point University for some extra upgrades, and well, is there some easy way through? I'm kinda afraid not. But with the combined power of those 2 armies, yeah, they could probably get through those palisade walls, so that should be happening, so let's keep an eye on that. Through the minimap, oh well, that's pretty strong reinforcement, and trouble's brewing, especially for the Teal player. Blue is at this point also under attack from orange, from El Sancho, and I kinda think that those numbers are pretty much equal of those knights, with the advantage coming for blue because he's fighting next to his military buildings, so he will be replacing the losses quite faster. And well, we see a bit of a switch here where yellow has been forced back into his base and he's right now forcing to be defending himself against Schmoof, who is finally coming out of the shell, out of the defensive shell of helping his teammate Dunedain and going into the offensive here. Can he find some wheelies though somewhere? No, he can't. I don't think this is somehow reachable out of any way, but if he can maybe somehow sneak a hole into this wall, that could be pretty surprising for his opponent. Well, let's see if that's going to be happening anytime soon, but otherwise, very nicely defended and walled up by yellow. We also see that red together with green have finally made their way through to the enemy base of the teal, and teal is at this point in pretty huge trouble because he doesn't have all that many army. Actually, I don't see anything at all. So I'm going to switch into, for example, blue, which is Asterix. And he's maybe slinging. Not exactly sure about that, what's happening with that, but he's definitely getting wrecked. And yep, oh well, that was a very nice micro. Very nice micro indeed. And yet again, very nicely played, Vince. That was excellent micro right there, avoiding all the hits from the mangonels and killing them both at once. And this is basically the only unit that Obelix is producing at this point, and he is fully reliant on the help from Asterix. But Asterix, even though he is researching iron casting, he needs to advance into Imperial Age. He needs those cavaliers and paladins to defend against all those guys. Right now, yeah, seems like that the micro battle has kinda weared off. And it seems like that one hit was through, but it still wasn't enough because the numbers were quite deep. Too large for teal to do anything about that. At the same time though, blue is doing a pretty good job of defeating the other army of the green player, who is right now losing absolutely everything. Both those blue knights and also to the extra TC fire, so that's just red there, and I'm kinda thinking that he won't be having all that much luck killing extra villies, but still teal has been dealt quite a decent amount of damage, dropped to just 80 villies, and he's like 50 less than his opponents from the club. So yeah, that was pretty nice indeed, pretty good job, and even though it seems to be reasonably contained at this point, yeah, especially when we see that all the contingents of the plumed archers from teal or from purple have made their way into the base as well, this is basically just waiting for the red army to be annihilated. Nothing else happening on the map? Well, of course. This is going to be annihilation of red pretty substantially, and well, yellow is doing a pretty good job at this point because he is being held by orange, and we have seen that the purple army has helped the teal teammate, which is right now going back to bite them as they have no defense in their bases. Yep, this is just a pure wreckage by orange together with yellow, and we also see from both of these players advances into Imperial Age, whereas Schmoof, Obelix and Vince already are through. But let's see if they can somehow make something out of this. Yeah, that was a big battle here as well, a bit of a lost release, and let's check back into the teal base how red was doing, and yep, exactly at the point where red has lost absolutely everything. But as a Mayan, I'm kinda thinking that he will be having quite a lot of reinforcements pretty soon. He's dropping siege workshops right next to teal, so he will be aiming to continue with the aggression, and probably a castle would be a good idea, but he's also very close to his teammate green, so it's not like he needs all that much protection. But still, castle about here maybe would be pretty nice to actually protect, or rather to attack the tree line, or maybe here it will also be pretty nice on those wood villies. Yellow is trying to fight some other some other guys to kill, and might he be successful? If he goes slightly south, he might be, but so far he isn't aware of it, and he is going for the second gold mine, which he knows that there might be a mining camp, but that's about it. And will he be entering the base of his opponent? Might be. He makes a way through of the wall. Yeah, that's right now what he's attempting to do, but I'm kinda thinking that maybe he will be switching more to the left. Orange doesn't seem to be interested in some proper aggression on him, he's just right now just containing the opponent purple. So he's doing a pretty good job of that. And once he is into Mythical Age, which he is at this point, and advanced already upgraded into Cavaliers, he might be into Paladin soon. Let's switch into El Sancho. If he's enough resources, well, he's definitely having enough gold, not enough food. So it's still going to take quite some time, but well, yeah, here we see a pretty good battle where BFs are trying to somehow assert map control above their opponents, but they will be having quite hard time of that because it's really very close to green base and also close to red, who is already having some kind of a base here. Green will be the one dropping a castle as a Mongol, which is understandable as he will be switching into Mangudais pretty soon from the crossbowman. But he might also want to switch into something else, like maybe camels or some halberdiers could be a pretty good unit here pretty soon, because those cavaliers and the knights at the same time, well, yep, you can kinda guess what that's going to do against archers if they are properly microed, but still I'm missing some kind of mangonels, and yeah, here is one, but he needs to get out of the walls and into the attack here. So far though, this is going pretty well, because those cavaliers are just making the difference, but yeah, this is pretty much it, as castle is dropped, and this should be resulting in BFs retreating, because this is not really a position they want to fight in, especially if those guys get something extra in there. Orange is also raiding pretty well in there, and yep, it seems like that BFs are at this point recognizing that this battle is not going to go for them at this point, as Blue doesn't have any kind of defense, and he was just getting wrecked altogether in his base, which is, yep, even though he was advancing in the Imperial Age, pretty crucial point, as he wouldn't be able to supply enough units. As we are looking at the villagers here, we see just a 53 for Schmoof, as he was really wrecked in this early attack when he sent all his units to help to the teal. That was basically what lost him the game, because he wasn't able to defend against yellow and orange altogether. Looking at really at the villagers, that's huge difference. Yeah, there's no way to fight that in the Imperial Age. So pretty good job by kLu. Let's have a look at the achievements. El Sancho, yeah, he was playing pretty well, even though I would kind of say that Huts was slightly better, but yeah, that's just 12 points difference. Okay, so we are kind of both right. Alright, so that was the first game going for kLu. GG.